Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the 3X Value Growth Podcast. My name is Carrie Sauls, Value Growth Advisor to mid-market companies and author of the bestseller, Multiply Your Business Value in 3 Steps. I'm coming to you today from New Hampshire, and as always, I start with a piece of New Hampshire trivia. Today's trivia has to do with Anheuser-Busch Brewery. The Bavarian-style hamlet of Merrimack, right near me, is the home to the famous 8-horse hitch, the Clydesdales, who are maintained by the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. So they're right up here near me. Who knew? Today, I am joined by Kristina Podnar. Welcome, Kristina.
Hi, Carrie. Thanks for having me today.
I'm so glad to have you here today. Really. Where are you calling in from?
I'm actually based in Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C.
So you're going to get hit by the cold this week too.
You know what? It arrived this morning and it's quite the chill.
Oh, you're ahead of us, and we're up in New Hampshire. We haven't had it yet.
Oh, let me tell you what's coming. It's beautiful though. It's really great fall, and I can't imagine a better place, quite frankly, than New Hampshire, but Virginia gets the second spot.
I agree. Definitely. Well, all right, Kristina, thank you again for joining us. For those who don't know Kristina, let me give you a brief introduction. Kristina Podnar works with some of the most high-profile companies in the world to see policies as opportunities, to free the organization from uncertainty, risk, and internal chaos, while unlocking opportunity, strengthening the brand, and driving digital innovation. Her book, The Power of Digital Policy, was published in March this year. Welcome again, Kristina.
Thanks for having me. So excited to be here.
Really, especially with the topic that we have for our 7-question interview, how to minimize risk and maximize digital opportunities for your business. And we're going to do that in 7 minutes, right?
Let's do it.
We're off to the races. Number 1, who's your ideal client, Kristina?
My ideal client is anybody who has a digital presence, whether you're small, medium, or large. If you're working in the digital world, that's the audience that I'm after, and that's the folks that I work with.
So with that audience, what is the problem that you solve for these businesses?
I literally help organizations understand how they can maximize the opportunities that digital brings, which means that if you're either using your website, your email campaigns, social media, whatever you're doing in the digital space, how do you actually maximize that either for marketing, delivering products and services, while also ensuring that you minimize your risk? And that can mean anything from a social faux pas in the social media space all the way to ensuring that you're compliant with regulatory and legal requirements that are both domestically here in the US as well as overseas.
So that sounds like it's all the back-end foundation for being able to do your sales and marketing.
It's the back end, and it's also what your customers see. It's usually the first touch point when somebody wants to learn more about you. As I did, Carrie, with you, the first thing I did was go to your website. And so I wanted to understand who you are and what you do. And so I look at things, as do users, in terms of, do you have a copyright? Do you have a secure website? Are you using a Gmail address versus your domain name? It's all of that marketing stuff and the back end that you bring to the consumer to make sure they have a seamless experience and a good user experience.
Okay, so my third question, Kristina, is what are the typical symptoms that you see of business owners when what they're talking about or what they're experiencing that they need your help?
Usually business owners don't know what they don't know. And so they're staying up at night because they're saying like, wow, I just heard that a competitor got hacked, or perhaps they saw something in the news about accessibility. And the first thing they're saying to themselves is, I'm trying to keep the lights on and run a business. How do I make sure that I'm not that person? How do I ensure that I'm not on the news tomorrow morning? And how do I know that my employees are doing the right thing that they should be doing? And so usually owners are basically raising their hand and saying, I know there's stuff I don't know, but I don't know what I don't know. Help me. And that's where I step in.
Perfect. So question number 4, building on that, what are the most common mistakes that you see them making on their own before they ask for help?
I think the biggest thing for any business owner or any business is not knowing what you don't know. It makes it really hard to prioritize. And especially for middle market businesses, there's so much going on. You don't have a lot of resources. And so the question is, what do you prioritize? And so people tend to be doing things that aren't going to give them the most bang for their buck or a return on their investment. And so they're focusing on things that don't matter, and the things that are really risky that do matter, that'll ultimately get them in trouble, are the things that are just kind of falling by the wayside. So that's the biggest issue that I see today.
Moving on, My fifth question is, what's one valuable free action that you can suggest to our audience members that they can implement that will actually help them in this area and, in fact, add value to their business?
The biggest thing you can do, regardless of whether you're a business that wants to stay on their own or you want to be acquired, you want to grow, whatever you're trying to do, actually assign somebody in the organization to be a digital policy steward, somebody who's going to be thinking about these risks and the opportunities of digital. And it doesn't have to be a full-time job, doesn't have to be a new hire. It can be as simple as maybe an hour a week or half an hour a week. Just make it somebody's job to actually be thinking about this and actually bringing that back into the organization and helping you out.
So you're saying a digital policy would be something that they would make changes, or they're actually going to document?
Like, wow, I have to write 20 pages. You don't have to write 20 pages of anything. Digital policies are nothing more than guardrails. They are the guardrails around your digital that make sure that your business isn't going to drive off of a cliff and get itself into trouble. Okay, so digital policy is a fancy name, but it's nothing more than guardrails. And in terms of, should you document them? I like to document them, but in a smaller business, it could be really something simple. I say use the back of your napkin if that works. It doesn't have to be something formal. I've had businesses that just get together once a month and talk about these things. It's really about right-sizing this to your organization, and what works for a Fortune 500 isn't going to be the same thing for a small business. So from that perspective, I don't really care whether you do a really fancy job documenting it or you just kind of do word of mouth. What I care about is that you know what you should be doing and everybody in the organization is doing the right things versus, like I said, driving off of that cliff and posing some risk for you where you don't want the risk.
Perfect. From your perspective, what's one valuable free resource, Kristina, that you can direct people to that will actually help them to further solve this problem themselves?
So whoever you are out there, if you want to try and take this on yourself, which is very doable, by the way, it's not rocket science. I've seen a lot of people do it themselves successfully. Head on over to thepowerofdigitalpolicy.com. It's my website. And what I've actually done is taken a lot of the resources that I use in my everyday consulting job and made them available for free. You don't even have to register, don't have to give me any data. You can just go out there, go through the checklist of what you should be doing, either as a business who's just starting up in this space, or you're actually trying to get a little bit more sophisticated in terms of what you're dealing with. It's all out there for you.
Beautiful. Thank you. My last question, Kristina, is what's one question that I should have asked that I didn't that would give great value to our audience? And share the answer, please.
Absolutely, Carrie. So, the one thing that nobody ever asked me, but I think it's really sort of the detail, and the detail of digital policy is that we don't think about our partners. So nobody ever says, hey, outside of the organization, what else do I need to be thinking about? And the answer is you need to be thinking about your partners, whether it's somebody who's hosting your website, somebody who's hosting your bookkeeping solutions, somebody who's helping you out with your social media campaign, somebody who's designing your website, whatever it is, you have a partner who is not necessarily part of your organization. They're either an agency, they're some type of a vendor. And that's where the weakest link usually lies in digital policy. So as you're thinking about your risks and your opportunities, think about everybody else that you partner with on a day-to-day basis and make sure to ask them as well, what are you doing to make sure that my business is safe and secure while maximizing digital?
That sent some light bulbs off for me too. Thank you so much, Kristina. Kristina Podnar, what a valuable interview you brought to the 3X Value Growth Podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for checking out the 3X Value Growth Podcast. If you like what we're doing here, head over to iTunes and subscribe, leave us a review, or rate us. It's very much appreciated. And if you'd like to learn more about the 3X Value Growth model, go to www.3xvaluegrowth.com/model for the PDF.